Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Thursday, May 9th, 2019. I lost my pencil. Don't know what I did with it. Probably in my head again, right? Nope.
No, wow.
Not at all.
Did you actually legit... Oh, found it.
Oh, it was on the floor?
It's actually... This is the weirdest thing I've ever said. It's actually in your jean. Dude, look.
No way. All right.
You know, that's what happens when you wear ripped jeans all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
You just stick your pencil in your jeans.
My name's Morgan Colby. I got Rick right across from me. I did find my pencil, so I'm able to take notes of the shows, people. Notes are important.
That's what my teacher said, but I didn't listen. Look where I am now.
There you go. Talking about fantasy football on Thursday afternoon. On this episode of the Fantasy Champions Podcast, we are going to give you our top 11 to 20 quarterback rankings for 2019. But first, be sure to do the following. Go to Twitter, at the FF Champs, Instagram, at the Fantasy Champions, Facebook.com/The Fantasy Champions to like us over there. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, where you can click the bell to get notifications. Leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. Also, very soon, we will be launching a brand new, fresh website that you can get all kinds of content and rankings and everything on.
Yeah. So when you're like sitting on your phone and you're like, man, should I take Jimmy Garoppolo or Big Ben Roethlisberger?
You'll
check
find
the site.
All of the information there. You want to learn about my streaming strategies?
Oh, boy.
Go to the website. So we will let you know further when that will launch. There is no news segment because we are on Thursday afternoon. So if you guys are complaining about something we did not talk about that happened while the show was live, it is not News Tuesday.
Yeah. We don't do the news on Thursday, bro.
Yeah, get it right. So let's start off with a question. Who is your 2019 breakout quarterback?
You know, some would call me biased for this.
Stop it. Don't say Patrick Mahomes. You already got that one.
Breakout quarterback, number one ranked Patrick Mahomes. Someone call me biased. I probably am.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh.
I love Jimmy G.
He says he's biased because we're Patriots fans.
Yeah,
and we love Jimmy G.
Not only are
we're the only Patriots fans that love Jimmy G, though.
Yeah, we're Patriots fans first.
We're like, Brady, get out of here. We want Garoppolo.
Then we're Jimmy G fans second. Then we're no. But seriously,
I love a Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh gosh, Just so you know, it's not a Patriots one either.
It's a 49ers.
That's how you know it's a 49ers Jimmy Garoppolo.
If you had a Patriots Jimmy Garoppolo jersey, I'd be pretty lit about that.
Oh yeah, I might buy one off like eBay or something just to get extra lit. But I love Garoppolo. He's one of my favorite players in the league. So that should say something about my breakout candidate. But like honestly though, I do think he has like people last year are going into it like he could be top 10. Tore his ACL. Boom. Now this year he's like going like he's the 19th ranked quarterback right now, ECR. I think people sleep
he's
in
not
a little
going
bit.
drafted. Last year, a player in our league, I was going to say something rude,
who's also a Patriots fan,
took Jimmy Garoppolo with like the fifth,
it was like fourth
in the
or
fifth
fifth
round. Yeah, I was like, oh my, that's yeah. So my breakout for 2019 is a man, and now that I toiled with this for a long while. This is a guy that likes to run and pass the football and probably can do it effectively. And a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh my God, you're crazy!"
Derek Carr.
This is a deep grab. Yeah, Derek Carr is my Josh Allen is my breakout quarterback for 2019. Now, a lot of people are probably going to say I reach, and I might be wrong, very wrong, but I like Josh Allen, and here's why. He's a quarterback that can throw for 3,500 to 4,000 yards and like 25 to 30 touchdowns, as well as like rush for 1,000 yards and like
Yeah,
10 touchdowns.
Your Deshaun Watson strat.
Yeah, it's true. I think that there is a real possibility if Josh Allen figures out how to throw the football without throwing interceptions, that he will actually be able to produce because of his rushing yards in a full season.
Mm-hmm.
If he can improve passing and he can add those rushing yards, I think he can finish as a top 5 quarterback this year.
Woo! Whoa, that was hot. Hold on.
It's a spicy take.
Let me turn down the oven.
Yeah,
I burnt my hand a little bit on that one.
It's a little bit spicy. But anyway.
I'll let you know my feelings on Josh Allen a little later.
We will talk about Josh Allen. But he is my breakout for 2019. Let's get into our main segment. Early 2019 quarterback rankings. Today we are going to discuss the 11 to 20 quarterbacks. In our last quarterback ranking show, we will probably do more of these. But over the next 2 episodes, or this episode, we will discuss the rest of the top 20. So let's get right into it. Drew Brees is the number 11th on our list. I think the last guy on our list was Jared Goff.
Yep.
So Drew Brees comes in at number 11. We both had him ranked 12. But because of averages working out, he ended up 11 on our list, higher than we both wanted.
Yeah.
So I don't like Drew Brees at all. I'm going to be honest.
I love Drew Brees, but I don't like him in fantasy.
I like Drew Brees personally. He seems like a nice guy. No, Drew Brees. To me, he's too old.
Yeah.
And I last year guys drafted him, yourself, and he was good.
He was very good
for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and then like when he got to November and December, that's when he kind of started to fall down a little bit. Right. And I think that's normal. That's normal for older quarterbacks. The funny thing is that in my league, our league,
yes,
I traded for Drew Brees for 140-point game, and then said I looked at numbers from Tom Brady in the past like 3 years and how he declines in December, and then tried to look up other older quarterbacks, and they all followed the same trend, and I was like, crap, it's December. So I was like, I got to deal Drew Brees. So I dealt Drew Brees and got Andrew Luck. Didn't work out for me because Andrew Luck sucked at the end of the season too, but Drew Brees is a guy that if you draft him in this draft, him or Tom Brady, who I don't think we talk about, you're going to get a quarterback who might be good some weeks, but is going to show his age others.
Yeah.
You're talking about 2 40-year-old quarterbacks here. Drew Brees, my concern is that, so for me, generally speaking, me and you, we both make the playoffs every year in our fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
So, leagues. I say leagues. So I think if you draft Drew Brees and you have him on your team the entire season and you get to the playoffs, where is he going to fail you? He's going to fail you in the postseason.
Right.
And that's when you need him the most. So it's like, do you want to draft Drew Brees? You have to have some kind of backup plan if you draft this guy. As like you had Patrick Mahomes as your backup plan. And not a backup plan, but it was like this guy might break out, and he did. And so you ended up having a good quarterback the whole year, whereas Drew Brees is just... like don't draft Drew Brees. I'll leave it at that.
I mean, I love Drew Brees, and people are going to see the name. People are going to see Drew Brees, and they're going to draft him.
Very true.
I think I have a personal trend is I'm staying away from older quarterbacks. I think their decline is legit. You can only do so much as a 40-year-old quarterback. I like Drew Brees. I like the talent around him. But look at last year. He was very good for half the season and fell off a cliff the second half. That you should look at that and be concerned. Yeah. I think going into this year, they're going to pound the ball with Alvin Kamara, and they're going to be fine. I think Drew Brees is going to be okay for 100%. Most of the season. That's why I have him ranked 12. But he's not going to be Drew Brees that we all remember as a top 3 fantasy quarterback.
He's being drafted in the 7th round right now.
Come on.
Guys, come on. Can you not do that?
No. Please do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're in our league, do it. Go ahead. Draft Drew Brees.
Well, draft him in that high, I mean.
Yeah, draft him that high. Drew Brees.
Really? 7th round?
Yeah, that's way too high. I think he's too high on the rankings, to be honest with you.
Like I said, I get the idea. It's Drew Brees. And you look at the team. He's got Michael Thomas. They added Jared Cook.
I don't like
Alvin
Thomas.
Oh well, I love Michael
I know
Thomas,
you do.
but they have Alvin Kamara. Like, they have talent. They have a good O-line.
And his ECR right now is 8, so that shows you the fantasy experts like him too.
But if you dig deep and look at the history of old quarterbacks, as you did, kind of unintentionally last year, but realize a trend of these guys do fall off in the later half of the season. And how much longer is Drew Brees going to play at an elite level too? Yeah,
exactly. And I think to sit there and think that just because Drew Brees finished in the top 10 last year, that he's going to finish in the top 10 this year automatically. I think the last few years, he's slowly been inching his way outside of the top 10.
Right, he has been,
and at this point now, he is outside of the top 10 rank. But for a guy who's not even in the top 10 rankings-wise for us, getting drafted in the 7th round as, I think, like the 10th or 11th quarterback off the board, that's... he's getting drafted as the 8th quarterback off the board. That's too much. That's way too much for a guy that's not going to be able to produce at the level that you want him to. He's an old man. He's going to have some games where he puts up 30, and he might do it in 4 straight games again next year. But that's, you literally, if you take those 4 games out of last season for Drew Brees, he has one of the worst, most mediocre, I should say, seasons at quarterback. And so I think if he has that more consistently, he will become, I don't know, not a valuable asset. We got to move on. Jameis Winston at number 12. My rank was 13. Mm-hmm. Your rank was 10, which is surprising because I do like myself some Jameis Winston. His ECR is 10. I've been doing some soul searching on Mr. Winston because I do like Jameis. But I'm trying to confirm if my love for him is fabricated or true.
Yeah.
Or if the facts back it up. So Winston, for me, the more I look at him, the more I start not liking him. And I want to draft him because he is going in the 11th or 12th round. So he's a guy that fits my plans of streaming quarterbacks absolutely perfectly. And I think that he fits, like, I want to draft, my plan is to draft one breakout guy, one guy that I think is going to bust out in the season, one of my sleepers, and then stream the first week of quarterbacks. And if this guy turns out to be a breakout, then obviously you have a really good player. Now, Winston was one of the guys I was targeting, but at this point, for me, the more I look at him, the more I realize the reason why he was so successful last year, not successful, but the reason why he had so many fantasy points last year was because of Dirk Cutter's system. Mm-hmm. And so my question is, and the thing I want to look at, is Bruce Arians' system going to be something that Jameis Winston can work in?
I think it can, and that's why I have him 10. That's probably too high. I'm honestly, like, I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm like,
he's like, no, I'm going to move him down.
I probably would move him down, but I still, the upside is there because, look, he's a very good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
In real life, I actually don't like him, and that's probably why it surprises you that I had him that high.
Yep.
But fantasy-wise, he's good. He's playing in Bruce Arians' system, which I think will help him succeed. Mm-hmm. I think the Buccaneers have that type of potential where Winston, he could be so at this point in the draft, after I get like below my kind of like 9 or 10 guys, even though I have Winston 10th, so I'd say like 9 guys.
Yeah,
I'm drafting guys that I think can be really good.
Yep.
So a Winston is one of those guys,
definitely. Yeah, and he's already proven that he can get 20.
There's also a legitimate chance though that Winston sucks first few weeks, and the Buccaneers just get rid of him.
Yeah,
like that's legit.
That's the risk that you take.
That's why I'm not drafting Winston high.
Yeah,
even though I have him ranked relatively high.
Yeah,
I'm still not drafting him within the first 10 rounds.
Right. I do really like Winston, and it's been difficult because I really honestly am trying to figure out if he can be a top quarterback. You know, at some point we will release our sleepers over the next few months, and the question is, will he be on that list for me? I don't know yet because I really do like him, and I think he could break out. I have to look at previous years with him before Dirk Cutter came in and before they threw the ball a lot, and you know there is that situation where they just give up on him. And it's like that is also a very, very, very scary thought if you have a quarterback that you drafted especially with the 10th or 11th pick, which is a pick that I'll use. I'd rather pick like James Washington, the second wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd rather have him as a sleeper than Jameis Winston.
Right.
Just because it's more value. If he turns out to be the next Juju, then and you drafted Jameis Winston instead.
Yeah, no, I know.
You're kind of getting screwed there. So for me, that's why I'm kind of nervous on Winston. I'm willing to take the risk on him, but it's just a matter of like this is the thing last year that a lot of people are like, you pick him up. He was streaming only, and you picked him up. And then it was like every 3 weeks they would switch quarterbacks, and it'd be like, which quarterback are you getting? And that was the risk that you were taking. Is this the game they're going to switch him mid-game and take him out? So that's my problem with Winston. When he was on the field, football, watching him like in real life, he sucks. But in fantasy, he knows how to throw 4 touchdowns and be ridiculous in fantasy numbers. So Winston's a guy that I'm definitely taking a look at, but we'll see what happens. Number 13 on our list is Ben Roethlisberger. I have him ranked at 11. You have him ranked 16. ECR has him ranked at 12. It's a real party for Big Ben. You looked at my rankings and said, why? And I was like, Ben Roethlisberger throws it a crap ton.
He does.
They're going to throw the same amount as they always do. Ben Roethlisberger finished as a top. He's getting slid way down draft boards, and he was finished as a top 3 quarterback. I don't think he's going to finish as a top 3 quarterback. But if Ben Roethlisberger's sitting there, and I don't know what round, maybe the 11th or 12th round, if he's sitting there in the 11th or 12th round, which he is right now, he might be worth one of those veteran pickups that could help your team. And then, like your strategy, you pick up a quarterback who you know is going to be decent, and then you pick up a quarterback that you think is going to be a breakout.
Yeah, that is a good spot.
And so I think for Roethlisberger, that's a perfect spot for him to go. I think he's like the 12th or 13th quarterback off the board, so that fits the bill perfectly. And on my draft board, Ben Roethlisberger is not going to come off the board. All these guys are going to be crossed out, and then when I get to the 12th round, this guy's going to be sitting there, and I might be sitting there pretty happy. But Ben Roethlisberger also has a very real chance of sucking this year, and I'll tell you why. Because Big Ben doesn't have any of the weapons he had previously. So James Conner was good last year, don't get me wrong, and Juju has been good in the past, but now you lost all the targets, what do they call them, the killer bees? Is that what they called them back in the day? You lost Bell, you lost Brown. Those guys aren't there anymore. Those are transitional talents. Those are guys that might make the Hall of Fame. With some young guys who are really good, it might turn into those guys, but we don't fully know what they are yet. So can Big Ben turn those guys into really good assets? And is the head coach in Pittsburgh, what's his name?
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. Can he, or is he going to throw the same amount as he normally does?
So I'm not sure if he is going to. The reason why I have him so low, I think I'm in the minority here. But again, I'm going to emphasize this entire show.
Yeah.
After the 10th quarterback, I look at guys who can flash ahead of guys who are old and can't dash. That's my nickname for it.
Old and
my
can't
slogan.
Dash. Flash or dash.
No, I look for guys with potential essentially, and I'm trying to stay away from older guys. Guys like Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady. We'll get to Phillip Rivers later in the show, but like those guys I try to stay away with. Roethlisberger is kind of tough. I have him 16. I might have him higher if I redo it, but not by much, just for the fact that they do throw the ball a lot generally, and Juju is still there, and he's excellent, but I've never liked Ben Roethlisberger. I've been one of those guys, he's just like a personal thing. I don't like Big Ben.
Yep.
Nothing against you Steelers fans.
Patriots fans.
But, I just personal thing, not a Ben Roethlisberger guy, but I'm not sure he's getting older. Like, that's no denying about it.
I agree.
And you lose Antonio Brown.
For me, it's
that
volume.
Is legit.
Yeah.
The volume, we'll see if it's still there. I don't think it's going to be the same. I think he'll still
probably won't be the same, but Ben Roethlisberger volume being reduced is like Matt Ryan throwing the same amount. So it's still going to be a lot of throwing or a lot of passing. So, I mean, for me, that's enough to say maybe I take a look at Ben Roethlisberger, but I'm not jumping off a bridge to grab him. You know what I mean? I'm not going in the 9th round and being like, I got Ben Roethlisberger, everyone. No, that's not what's going to happen. Jimmy Garoppolo is number 14 on our list. He's one of my sleepers. I love Jimmy G. He's on my rankings. He's 17.
Boo.
On your rankings, he's 13.
Yay.
And the ECR has him at 19. The reason why he's 17 is because of this. Jimmy Garoppolo is a pocket passer. He has the ability to move around, but he doesn't run the football. As a quarterback in the NFL, you have to be, in order to produce at an extremely high level in fantasy football, you have to be able to, and you're not a guy that runs all over the field and gets rushing touchdowns and rushing yards like Josh Allen does. You have to throw the football a lot. And so Kyle Shanahan will do that. The question is, can Jimmy Garoppolo translate that? We have never seen Jimmy G pull off a 4,500, 35 to 40 touchdown season, which is what you would, for me, the reason why I put him at 17, which is a low-end QB2, which is, not very good, is because I don't know if he can do that. He seems like he's a really good game manager. In the games that he has had, he's been pretty good, but one touchdown and 250 yards a game is not fantastic. That's not going to win you fantasy games. It might win you 49er games. Ooh, but you're not going to get wins in fantasy football with Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback. If he takes that leap now I think he can because I like Jimmy G, but he has to take that leap from being a Jared Goff to an Aaron Rodgers to be what people expect him to be, which is somebody,
I don't know if I wouldn't say he has to be Aaron Rodgers, but
not Rodgers, but I mean, as far as production is concerned, like he needs to be a really, really good pocket passer in order to produce at a high level because he doesn't run the football, because he doesn't rush it at all. He stands in the pocket and he throws the football similar to Tom Brady. He can move around. He has mobility, but he doesn't get out of the pocket.
Not always, but would you say he runs the ball as much as like Andrew Luck does?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's enough, honestly. I'm not going to talk too much about Garoppolo because everybody knows my feelings on him. I love him.
Yeah.
He's Jimmy G for MVP always.
Jimmy G MVP.
But he is good. And coming off the injury, I think we should
just start Jimmy G for president.
Oh, yeah. Get that on a T-shirt. No, but honestly, like, I think what we saw last year, too, the hype around him.
Yeah.
Right? Going into a lot of fantasy drafts, going into the season. What's it going to be like, Jimmy Garoppolo? And sure, he had down moments, but it was looking up. Mm-hmm. He was coming off a great game against Kansas City. And then, obviously, the ACL injury happened. Yeah. He's got a full year to digest it. He's got a full year at Kyle Shanahan's offseason. The expectations are lower. He's getting drafted in fantasy drafts a lot lower. I think this is the time.
This is the time, definitely, to grab Garoppolo. He's a guy, like I said, it sounds like I'm a Garoppolo hater. He has moved up in drafts. He's picked, I think it's the 13th, 12th, 13th round now. Mm-hmm. But for Jimmy G, he's a guy that I'm like targeting in my drafts this year, that I'm going to be going after as a guy that could be a really good quarterback. I actually think this year his ceiling is top 6. This year, I'm not talking about future years, but I think this year his ceiling is top 6. And I think my only concern with Jimmy Garoppolo, and this is what happens when you get this far down your draft board, you're talking about quarterbacks like I said, the reason why I have him 17 is because I think his floor is a QB2, and he's never proved that he can stay on the field longer than 5 games. Yeah. So I mean, that's the other problem, is that do you want to warrant that 13th round pick? I mean, it's worth taking the risk at 13, but is he going to get hurt again? That's the question. And the fact that he has to produce at an extremely high level in order to get enough fantasy points to justify you even keeping them on your fantasy team, on the bench at least. Mm-hmm. So that's my concern with Jimmy G, is that, and especially in our league where bench spots are, very valuable. You can't be holding Jimmy Garoppolo waiting for him to get out of that one touchdown, 250 yards a game spot. But I think he does have some potential. I think he could break out. And I think he's going to be really good. Number 15 on our list, Phillip Rivers, another old man quarterback. I have him at 14. I think it's just because of the weapons around him. He has one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. I think that he he has one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. He has Hunter Henry coming back for a full season. He has a good offensive line. That offense is going to be good. Somebody did hold on to Phillip Rivers way too long last year in our league. And they really bought in on Phillip, but he wasn't that great, this particular season. The reason why I have him at 14 or 15 is more specifically because I think he can't, to me, he's a streamer. I think that's at best what Phillip Rivers can do for you. If you find him on good weeks on a good matchup, he's a good streamer. I think he's a guy that people right now, I don't even think he's getting drafted in the 12th round.
Okay.
The situation for Phillip Rivers is I think he's going to be a guy that gets drafted and then drops 10 points week 1 and then gets cut. That's kind of how I feel about Phillip Rivers. But I think he's a good streaming quarterback. I just don't, me personally, I don't think he's draftable. I might think about moving him down further down my draft boards. I just felt guilty about putting Lamar Jackson in front of him.
So for me, again, the trend of old quarterbacks, but also with Phillip Rivers, he lost.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the best receiving core in football anymore.
Yeah.
They lost Tyrell Williams. I think you can make the argument Oakland has a better receiving core. I think you can make the argument that Cleveland now has a better receiving core, which is crazy to me. But the
Cleveland does have a better receiving core.
Chargers, are still stacked offensively.
Yeah.
And Phillip Rivers, honestly, didn't really show too many signs of slowing down throughout the year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I actually might move him up too.
Yep.
Honestly, on my list, because I do generally like Phillip Rivers. What's the ceiling for him?
Yeah, not very
if
high.
you're taking a guy,
No, it's not very
again, if you're taking a guy late in the draft for a quarterback, for me, I want a guy with a high ceiling and a guy that is going to produce. So maybe you want to take Phillip Rivers as a backup plan, insurance you could call it. Then yeah, that's fine. But to me, Phillip Rivers is only going to have such a good season. I don't even see him being top 9.
Yeah.
I could see him being 11 or 12.
Yep.
But that's max.
I agree with that 100%. I don't know why I put him so high. I think I'm going to move him down. Lamar Jackson, the number 16 quarterback.
The one we disagree with the most.
Our consensus ranking. This is the one we disagree with the most. And I just got a beard hair in my mouth.
Wow, that's gross.
Wow. That was gross. I have him ranked 21. Rick has him ranked 14.
Yep.
The ECR has him ranked at 16. This is a guy that could legitimately, don't think I'm crazy. Go and prorate his numbers on Pro Football Reference, and you tell me that this guy can't rush for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns next year.
Yeah.
If he throws, I calculated this. If he throws 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, and rushes for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, he'll finish in the top 4 of quarterbacks.
Wow.
And he barely threw for 3,000 yards.
And you have him 21. Why is that?
I have him 21 because I don't know how long their rushing attack can hold up in the actual NFL.
Once teams realize that that's the only thing they can do.
Yes. So when you force Lamar Jackson through the air, how effective is he going to be? If he's good, then he's going to be a really good quarterback. I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to rush for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Wow.
That would be crazy.
You said that. I like Lamar Jackson. What?
But I think, fantasy football-wise, not really. I think that's a terrible lifestyle choice for Baltimore to go all running. But anyway, Lamar Jackson, I think, could be a fantastic quarterback in fantasy. He is one of my top sleepers just because of that. I put Josh Allen ahead of him in my rankings, more specifically because we'll talk about Josh Allen in a couple minutes. But I put Josh Allen ahead of him in my rankings because I think Josh Allen can throw the football a lot more effectively than Lamar Jackson can. Yeah. Lamar Jackson does it at a more he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, so he's more wise with where he throws the football, whereas Josh Allen just chucks it.
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson doesn't throw it all that often because he doesn't have a great arm. Now, if that gets fixed, this guy's going to be crazy good. He'll be Deshaun Watson. But I think that he could be one of the best quarterbacks ever in fantasy football. If he can throw the football, like if he throws it anywhere close to 3,000 yards and 30 touchdowns,
Cam Newton MVP season.
Yeah, like Cam Newton MVP season. Like if he can do that and rush for 1,000 consistently, like that would be crazy. People think like if you sit there and think about a quarterback running for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, you think it's crazy, but this guy might do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the one. I think one of the big reasons to have him at 14 is he can seriously do that.
Yep.
Which is absolutely unheard of.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson has fantasy potential written all over him. It's going with my draft strategy of drafting guys with that kind of potential. As you said, when you prorated his stats, and he finished fourth? You said, you have to look at that and be like, eye-opening. Now, I mean, obviously the forcing him to throw the football thing might be concerning. They did add weapons around him, though.
No, I think that
their team overall offensively is better. Mark Ingram, Hollywood Brown. They drafted a few guys, a few wide receivers. So Hollywood Brown and Miles. I was gonna say the wrong name. I don't remember.
Miles Boykin.
Yes, yeah.
So I was gonna say Miles Gaskins, but he's a running back in the class. I was gonna say the wrong name. Miles Boykin and Hollywood Brown, two guys. I called them losers last week, but they make
fantasy losers. Let's get that
fantasy losers. It makes Lamar Jackson a winner, though. I think it puts him in a great position because it gives him some weapons, and if they're good route runners, which they are, very good route runners, he's gonna have a real good tandem. I think he's going to take some steps forward because he is wise with the ball. He's not a very accurate passer. He's not a great passer. All he really does is run it. But I think if he can figure that part of his game out, he will be a top 10 quarterback next year. That's not even like a couple years down the road thing. That's like next year because he runs it so much. My problem is that if they figure out how to stop this is what happens. You get quarterbacks like this, and then at some point, unless they're like Mike Vick, which we referenced in the last two episodes, not sure why. But if he's like Michael Vick, then he will be able to overcome this. But a lot of times these guys come into the NFL, these running quarterbacks, and they aren't able to.
They force them to beat them with their arm, and it's tough for them to do.
And they figure out how to stop them on the ground. And the second you figure out how to stop Lamar Jackson on the ground, like Bill Belichick built like the blueprint in the divisional round last year on how to beat Lamar Jackson. And it's like, if he is stopped in the ground and is forced to run.
It was the Chargers that beat the Ravens last year.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, because we played the Chargers Patriots played the Chargers in the divisional round.
No, we played the Baltimore Ravens.
I think you're having
oh my gosh, no way.
A panic attack or something.
Didn't he crap himself against somebody?
Yes, the Chargers.
All right, never mind.
You had the right idea. You just crediting the Patriots because you're a Pats fan.
Stop. But anyway, we got to move on. But Lamar Jackson, I think, could break out. He's one of the guys I am targeting late in drafts. The reason why he's 21 is because I think his floor is so friggin' low that he could bust out. Like, he could bust out real bad, and he most likely will. Like people are gonna draft him real high with your nice ECR of 16 and your rank of 14. So I'm gonna put him so far down my draft board that if he's sitting there, when we get to the end of the draft, I'll be like, yeah, I'm taking Lamar Jackson. You leave him there for me, definitely.
In a league with us, he won't be sitting that far.
No, Mitchell. We gotta move a little bit quicker, but Mitchell Trubisky, number 16. No, is that 17? 17 on our list. Ranked 15 by me, 16 by Rick, and 15 on the ECR. I really like Mitchell Trubisky. He's one of those guys that you watch in real life and you're like, what?
Yeah.
He makes you think really hard about whether he's a good quarterback or not. But if you just turn off the television and you just look at the fantasy numbers, Mitchell Trubisky's a good quarterback. The concern is that fantasy football is more than just those two things. So, I mean, more than just statistics. It's also figuring out if the guy can actually play the game of football. Because at some point, he's got to step up and show it. But I think Trubisky does have a high ceiling. I think he has a lot of hope for the 2019 season, and I think he showed he can be really good. He's also one of those quarterbacks, good at home, bad on the road, so he can show some consistency there. Right now, he's going in 10-team leagues in the 14th round. So he's a guy that can definitely be grabbed either in your draft or if he goes undrafted on the waiver wires for their week 1 matchup.
Yeah.
So I personally really like Mitchell Trubisky as a guy that you can draft, sit on your bench, hope he breaks out. I think his ceiling is a little bit lower than
Lamar Jackson.
No, lower than, I don't know, like a QB6 or something like that.
Oh, okay. So like outside the top 5, but maybe still top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could see that. I think Trubisky, I'm always up and down with him, just like how he plays, which is probably why. Mm-hmm. Did you just have an alarm? That's like
yeah, dude.
Trying to get up for work.
Yeah. Yeah. Computer alarms.
Yeah. So with Trubisky,
yeah.
I'm always so nervous with Trubisky just because I watch him.
Throw him in your lineup and you kind of puke in your mouth a little bit.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh, all right.
I think
you didn't have that problem this year.
No. I think there's just other guys around the spot that I'd probably rather have over him.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that he does have a good ceiling. And he does have, relatively decent talent around him too.
Yeah. And
an offensive-minded head coach, so...
Yeah, I think Trubisky could be really good. They added David Montgomery. They have Tariq Cohen. They didn't really add anyone I think they drafted a wide receiver, but late. I don't remember. But anyway, I think Trubisky could be a breakout guy this year, but he does make me a little bit nervous watching him last year. He's just very, very inconsistent. Dak Prescott, number 18 quarterback. I ranked him 16. Rick ranked him 19, and DCR is 17. Dak is...
The Dak attack.
Can I move him down to 18?
Okay, yeah. Go for it.
Dak Prescott, I don't even know what to say. They want to pay him $31 million. That's all I'll say.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, no. I think Dak is a decent quarterback. He was a lot better with, I'll say this, he was a lot better with Amari Cooper in the offense. And I think if he continues that production in 2019, he won't be as inconsistent and I don't think he had one QB1 finish last year. I think he averaged like 16 fantasy points a game, so it's like that kind of production is not even for Dak. It's not I'm going to draft Dak and hope he breaks out. It's is he going to actually can he be in that offense? Can he be a number 1 like a top 10 quarterback?
That's why I have him a little lower, because I don't think he there's just, again, once you're at this point in the draft, I want to get guys who have top 10 potential. Dak's not that guy, I don't think.
No.
I don't see him doing that. I think Amari Cooper definitely helped him, which makes him enter into the conversation of can he be that?
Yeah.
But I still don't think he is. He's not a bad quarterback by any means, but
right.
Just not somebody I'm targeting in fantasy football, especially in late in the draft.
Right. Yeah. I can't justify it. There's no.
Because you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. I'm only drafting Zeke.
That's the only reason.
Zeke and Zeke alone. This will be the first year in 3 years.
Unless you really think Dak is gonna, Amari Cooper is gonna. A full season, off season with Amari Cooper is like
it'll help him break out. No, that's not gonna happen. I think Dak could finish. I mean, the reason why I put him at 16 is because I think Dak can finish in the top 15.
You had him higher than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, which makes it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Number 19 on our list. Sorry. Is Josh Allen. I had him 20. You have him 15.
Ooh.
And so I do like Josh Allen a little bit more than you, but you still ranked him higher. So his ECR is 20, and I don't know. Like I said before, Josh Allen's a guy who knows how to throw the football as well as run the football. That's why I have him ranked higher than Lamar Jackson. And I think that he is a guy. I think he's my number 1 sleeper. I haven't really solidified that list yet.
Yeah,
but,
you kind of did. But I'll allude to the fact that he is.
Yeah, it's fluctuating. I think I tweeted about it once, but regardless, Josh Allen really has become that number 1 guy for me because he can throw the football. So if he does what we think he can do, like he was rushing in a similar style. For him, it's not really about the rushing yards. It's more about the fact that every time they get in the red zone, he kind of just runs it into the end zone.
Yeah.
And 6 points is a lot more than 4 fantasy points. So I'd rather take the rushing touchdowns, but he was on pace for like 12 last year, which was crazy. If he played those last 4 games,
12 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, if you prorate the last 4 games out for an entire season, it was like somewhere between 8 to 12. So I think Josh Allen could really produce next year if he stays on the field, as in they don't take him off because he throws 5 picks. And I think he can throw the football well. I think he can run the football well. I think if you put the whole package together and he turns out to be a success, I think he could be, like I said, breakout candidate next year. It's just a question of, can he actually follow through with it? That's why he is at 20 on my list, because if he doesn't, then you're sitting there with a really bad quarterback. Now, he's worth drafting because he's like in between rounds 12 to 15, so I'm definitely on board with drafting him, and he's one of the guys I will be drafting as like one of the breakout guys this year. Every year there's like 1 or 2 players in the top 5 that you were like, who is that guy?
Yeah, how'd they make it? See, dude, I don't think you have to worry about Josh Allen not playing because he threw 5 interceptions. Because they played Nathan Peterman and he threw 6 interceptions a game, so
Nathan Peterman's on the Oakland Raiders now.
He's gonna steal Carr's job.
Yeah,
confirmed.
MVP.
Nathan Peterman and Antonio Brown, name a better duo. I'll wait.
Oh God.
Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen just like you do. It's hard to look at those very similar to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Even though I have him a little lower than Lamar Jackson, it's hard to look at those last 4 games of the season and not say to yourself, like, okay, this guy can be something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they added Cole Beasley. They added Josh Brown. They added good depth.
Yep.
The offense still isn't as good as I want it to be, and I would have had him higher, honestly, if I thought they added a few more, not necessarily wide receivers, but maybe like a legit running back or something like that.
Right.
But still very good, and like continuing with the trend, has a lot of upside.
Yeah, a lot of upside. He
has the potential to be a top 7 fantasy quarterback this year, I think.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a guy like that in the 13th round or wherever he's going, 14th round,
you have a great candidate to break out.
Absolutely.
Yep. Number 20 and the final quarterback on our list is Kyler Murray.
My guy. This is actually our biggest separation.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little.
I have him at 23. You have him at 17. ECR has him at 25.
Yeah. I'm 8 spots. That's kind of rough.
Yeah, it is kind of rough. But Kyler, I don't blame you. And here's why. Kyler Murray is in the perfect situation. He has a ton of talent around him that was just drafted, which, obviously you hope breaks out and plays extremely well. But regardless,
he still has
good a ton of talent around him. He's in the system. He's in a system where he fits perfectly, and he's going to be throwing it 65 to 70% of the time.
It's very offense friendly.
It's a very offensive friendly offense, a very passing friendly offense. I think Kyler Murray, he can get it done with his feet. He can get it done.
He's a good fantasy player.
He reminds me very much like my player comparison for Kyler Murray is Deshaun Watson. And I think if he can do Deshaun Watson things like Deshaun Watson did in his rookie season,
similar to Baker Mayfield too, I think a little bit.
Right, but if he can get going on the ground and do similar things to what Baker did in his rookie season, passing the ball, I think he could actually be in the top 15, maybe even the top 10 this year. But he's not going to go anywhere past like 8.
No.
I wouldn't think he was going to go that high. I am not drafting Kyler Murray, and here's why. Because I don't think he's a rookie quarterback. Seeing what Baker did is about the max of what you're going to get from a rookie quarterback. And I think that drafting, there are 2 positions for rookies that I don't draft. And that's wide receivers, in a redraft league. In Dynasty, obviously, it's completely different. But in redraft leagues, I don't draft Kyler Murray. I don't draft quarterbacks.
My number 1 rule for 10 years.
Yeah. I don't draft quarterbacks, and I don't draft wide receivers that are rookies. Unless they're transcendent, you know what I mean? Unless you really believe.
And even then, if a quarterback's Sam Darnold last year, for example, a lot of people were like
Andrew Luck's rookie season, he was very good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He wasn't spectacular, but he was very good. So I think that you have certain situations where it's justifiable to take a quarterback. He is the number 1 quarterback off the board, but how valuable actually is he? I think that it's just sheer volume that could get to catapult him into that number one spot.
Fantasy wise, he might actually have one of the better rookie. He has the potential to have one of the best rookie seasons, ever, just because of the way they use him.
Yep.
And now, in the season, he might watching the games. He might not be the best.
Yep.
But again, how he's used, running the ball, throwing the ball, his usage, that might propel him into the top 10.
Yep.
I think he does have a ceiling. He's a rookie quarterback, as you said. I think it's probably 8 or 9 would be, but that's still if you're getting, he's going undrafted in a lot of leagues. So
yep.
Good streaming option too.
Yeah, definitely a good streaming
for
option.
You.
I think Kyler Murray is not getting drafted right now. Yes, he is. There's going to be one guy 14th,
in your league.
15th round right now.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be 1 or 2 guys in your league that's dude, Kyler Murray, I watched him in college. He's a beast. Takes him in the 13th round.
Yeah.
But
I won't be drafting Kyler Murray. I'm avoiding. That's one of my strategies. Avoid rookie quarterbacks, avoid rookie wide receivers. I will not be drafting Kyler Murray in drafts, but I might take a look at him streaming wise. Because there were a couple of games that Baker had, a couple of really good.
Oh yeah, I could see Kyler
season.
Murray getting a 25-point fantasy week.
Yeah, and it's if he's on a good matchup, then that's the case. This guy could break the trends and absolutely dominate next year, and we could be very wrong. But I'm just going with what I know for fantasy football, and that's that rookie quarterbacks don't normally play well. So that does it for our top 20 quarterbacks, for our quarterback rankings. Can't believe we're already through quarterbacks.
I know.
Yeah, it's a short list of players, but
I can't believe people rank up to 50 or 60.
Yeah, on
these websites.
That's
it's
absolutely insane.
It's you're gonna rank the Giants' backup quarterback versus
Nathan Peterman, number 1.
Oh, 100%. Let's get rid of these rank. Everything we just told you is a lie.
Everything we
Nathan
just told
Peterman
you a lie. Draft
must
Nathan
draft
Peterman.
first overall pick in fantasy football.
Yeah. Be sure to listen next week as we move on to ranking wide receivers for drafts in 2019. It's going to be really good. The top 10 wide receivers will be pretty good, but the bottom is where we'll probably disagree the most.
Oh, 100%.
So you got any closing thoughts for us, boss?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, boy.
Not only do I love you, I want you to know that I love you more than my firstborn child yet to be.
That's ridiculous. See you next week, Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.